And we are live. Welcome to Covers as Puck Props with 14-year NHL vet Carlo Colaiacovo coming to you hot after big night from Morgan Geeky.
Big night.
Yeah.
Big night.
I've back-to-back nights. I've gotten I love you messages from you.
Oh, you have.
So
you
things
have.
are going good. But
you have. Keep sending those big plus money plays my way, Jings.
Oh, plus 2.6 units last night. A little 3-1. We lost 2 San Jose goals somehow in the third period in that game. But as I told you off air, I'm happy to take the San Jose loss with the Nashville win. That seemed like you're like, hey, it should have just hit the Nashville team total over because that's where it was. But happy to see Philip Forsberg continue to shine in overtime. NHL Puck Props brought to you by Sports Interaction. Let's get into it. Saturday slate. A big one with some NFL, so maybe some inefficient markets. People are betting a little more football than hockey today. Detroit at Philly. Let's go. Philly, 3-way money line. Let's keep those plus money plays cooking. Philly, also cooking. 11 of a possible 12 points in its last 6 games. That includes going up to altitude in Colorado, knocking off the Avs. They've acclimated. They've played a game back since their West Coast win versus Washington at home on Wednesday. PP could do better, but this is also the number 2 penalty kill in all of hockey, so that's what it's doing. Detroit ranks 28th in expected goal for percentage, so there's a little issues there. We have Larkin's out, pal. David Perron's out. Comfer is coming back from the IR, so he's probably limited slightly in his minutes. We're here Saturday again. Carter Hart, illness. But Urson, 5-0-1 in his last 6. He's back. He's not the Urson from Saturday afternoon games, pal. 917 save percentage.
Yeah.
This is it. Like, you talked to me about it earlier before, and Torch used to just get run through the ringer through the public who didn't know Tortorella. Like, we talk about Torch a lot. And the more I listen to players, the more I listen to guys talk about him, you really don't hear bad words about him. And you always say he's face value. You know exactly what you're getting with Torts.
Yeah.
Is the success of this Philly team led from top to bottom from Tortorella for a team that's in third place in the Metro, but 1 point out of second place?
Well, look, I mean, Torch deserves a ton of credit for the success of the Philadelphia Flyers because he's created a culture there and an environment where there's nothing less to be accepted than a high compete level. And, you look at the Philly team, they don't have many, star-studded players. But I think if you ask a lot of players in the league, they don't want to play Philly because they compete their asses off. And that's why they're having this success. And a lot of that compete level is driven from the structure and the style of play that John Tortorella wants you to play. It almost fits that sort of Philly mentality, rough, tough. You're not going to come in here and push us around. And I got to say, I kind of love it with what the Philadelphia Flyers are doing. I think most people would say they're overachieving. And I think it's appropriate to say that about them because they're a team that came into the season, going through a little bit of a rebuild. They moved players out in the offseason. They've brought in a lot of younger players. But don't tell that Philadelphia team because I don't know if you've seen the Player of the Game award that they hand out every game when they win. It's a dog mask because they believe that they're a bunch of hard working, barking dogs. And so they play like that. And their record shows it. You mentioned the record that they've played with so far. They've gotten points in 7 of 8. Gotten 7 of their last 8 points. Correct?
11 of 12.
11 of 12. Okay, even better.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why I like this matchup even more is because of how bad the Detroit Red Wings have looked since Patrick Kane has come back, has been introduced. They're 1-4 with him in the lineup. And, obviously the loss of Dylan Larkin hurts even more when you can't play with your captain. But look, this is no shot at Patrick Kane. But sometimes when you bring a player in at this point of the season, there's an adjustment period that goes on because he takes somebody else's job that was doing well. And he's he's trying to find his right fit with the team, and they just seem out of sync right now. And I just don't believe, with everything they're struggling with and the compete level that Philadelphia can play with, it's going to be a recipe for a Detroit success in this game.
All right. Plus money. Philly in regulation, plus 120. Going to the next one. Jersey. Blue Jackets. We like goals, but that market is open 6.5, minus 140 to the over. So we're looking for something else. Let's go plus 170, pal. Jesper Bratt over over 1.5 points, 2 points there, plus 170. Hughesy's not bad, not a bad play here. Maybe plus 105 if you're looking for that. But in this situation, this matchup is looking good. This is like, if you haven't followed Jesper Bratt, maybe the quietest more than point per game player in all of hockey this year. 6-game point streak, multis in 2 of those. He's playing with Hughes and Toffoli, and still PP1. New Jersey, you wanted to hit Boston the other game because New Jersey was coming back from their trip, so they got that game in. They did win that game versus Boston. And the matchup is just insane. Columbus, just the worst expected goals against per 60. High total game. The New Jersey team total over 4.5 is only plus 130. So I think there's a little bit of extra change here on the plus 170 with Brad. Starting to see some 7 pops up. Like yesterday in the Islanders game that you called, that was 0-0 and still finished, 5-4? Yeah. You like this game for goals. What stands out to you for expectations for a high-scoring game, and a game that opened, like I said, minus 140 to the over 6.5?
Yeah, full. So let's start with New Jersey first. You talked about how, on Wednesday when they played Boston, I couldn't believe New Jersey was favored in that game. Boston was actually providing plus money, considering Jersey was coming off a long road trip, and Boston, a team as good as them, getting plus money was too hard to pass up. But Jersey found a way to win that game. Now they've had 2 days to sort of get back acclimated into Eastern time zone. And they've got a really, really tough schedule coming up. They play Columbus tonight, Anaheim Sunday, and then 3 games next week, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, against Philly, Edmonton, and Detroit. So you kind of got to look at this game and say, okay, this is the one where they probably think is going to be an easy one, which will probably allow them to let their guard down a little bit. Sort of the same thing that Toronto did the other night, looking playing Columbus, looking ahead to Pittsburgh. So you kind of feel like this could be a trap game for New Jersey, which means, look, Columbus is very capable of scoring goals. We showed that the other night against the Toronto Maple Leafs. We could see a lot of goals in this game. And look, you're talking about Jesper Bratt. Jesper Bratt's one of my favorite players because he's my best fantasy hockey player that I have on my fantasy team. So I've been following him a lot. So the fact that Columbus is not very good defensively against the high-powered New Jersey team, Columbus can score goals against a New Jersey team that hasn't been getting great goaltending. They're thin on defense because they got no Hamilton. I think this is a night where we could see another track meet game and expect the best players to shine like Brad.
Sorry, as I check in on my Bundesliga 2 plays here, as I go. Yeah. Score some goals.
Are you on those parlays again? Both teams to score?
It's a routine Saturday morning.
Nice.
Jumping over to the chat. Appreciate everybody there. Everybody listening, as always. Thanks for the comments. We going down the list. Said Caleb says, good morning. Everybody slept well. Everybody slept very well.
Very well. 2 great sleeps back-to-back nights.
Well. Yes. Always appreciate Adam jumping into the chat. Chris, as always, too. Hit both geeky plays in one shot. Absolutely did. Things were looking a little south there for a bit, with Nashville trailing by 2 and Boston yet to get on the board, but a couple penalties really helped that situation.
Hey, that's why they play 60 minutes, right?
Yeah, no heater hat. No heater hat, indeed. The heater hat, I don't think I've won a single day after wearing the heater hat, so it might be down. So Adam says he really also likes Jari saves if he can get it at 29.5. Toronto, I mean, the thing about Toronto, and we'll get to it when we get to the Leafs game, which is in the next recap. If you can predict Toronto trailing, all of those big boy overs are so in play.
So true.
They're probably the best trailing team, and the bench shortens, and everybody just gets their piece. It's too bad you can't bet live shots on goal or live points. It's more just goals. So
yeah, because Matthews finished with 11 and Nylander had 10 last game.
Yeah,
because they were on every other
everything to do with trailing by
5 goals. Yeah, for sure.
Game script. All right. Appreciate everybody there in the chat. Thanks. We're still rolling. We're going to the Edmonton game. This game is a cheeky one for sure. We got 2 plays. This one's more opportunity than probability. I think I got this closer to 50-50. I mean, Evan Rodriguez for a point at plus 120, playing with Barkov, playing with Reinhart. You want to talk about contract year guys? Willie Nylander's a lot in there, but Sam Reinhart has quietly been insane for a guy who's looking to get paid. So he will certainly get paid. But Florida hasn't scored in 2 games. That's a big issue. And with that comes changing in lines and putting things in a blender, as they say. But Florida here, it's going to be a tough game. Like I said, Florida hasn't scored in 2 games. Tampa Bay coming off that 7-4 loss to Edmonton, coming off that loss to Tampa Bay. Rodriguez comes up, playing 18 minutes with that top line, averaging 16.5 on the year, so there's a little value there. He's only 3 games removed from a 4-game, 8-point streak, so the offense is going through him, and it's more just a team drought. You've been on teams where you've been shut out in back-to-back games. How important is it for someone like Paul Maurice to steer the ship in this situation?
Well, that's what you do, right? As a coach, you've got to find a way to shift the momentum in the lineup and juggle things around, because throughout an 82 game season, you're going to hit a point where things just get stagnant. And for Florida, look, they've impressed almost everybody in the hockey world, considering where they are and how they've been able to follow up last year's run in the playoffs to success this year. But clearly they've hit a rut in their schedule, and they believe they have good players, and they've got to find a different mix that's going to get this team scoring again. And they're very capable of scoring. And, what do we think about Edmonton? They went on that 8-game win streak to get themselves back into, the picture here, sniffing around the playoffs. But, Stuart Skinner showed who Stuart Skinner was last game, because he couldn't stop a beach ball. Is that just a one-off game, or does he, the typical reaction would be for him to, buckle down and have a response game, just like we're expecting Florida to say, okay, well, we need to juggle things around. We got to find a way to start scoring some goals again. So I love what you said there, that this is more of a probability play, because, you don't, ideally, if a team's struggling scoring, you don't want to, focus on guys getting points. But, when things get shuffled like this and you get a guy promoted to the top line, sort of how we found the Morgan Geekie play yesterday. You're finding these probable plays because guys are getting different opportunities, and you just hope they find a way to click.
And like, we've been betting Rodriguez now for 3 years. Like, he's been a guy who's, middle 6 guy. It's nice to see him up there, but he is a guy who's a shooter. He's a guy who's a finisher. He's a guy who will probably try to boost, jumpstart this offense. So let's get him for a point, plus 120.
And the thing is too, is that, like, what are the odds of Barkov or Reinhart getting a point, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Minus 200.
Yeah. So the value there is to find the guy that's playing on the line with them.
Yeah. Guilty by association. And let's keep going. I mean, it was cool to talk about content wise, just to be like, yeah, he's the best hockey player in the world. He's scoring 100 points in 2 games. Let's bet his under. But yeah, I don't know. Connor McDavid, under 3.5 shots on goal. Again, minus 130. It's 11-game point streak, 27 points. Yes, it's insane, but just 32 shots. He's hit the over 3.5 shots just 2 times over his last 13 games. It's just a market that a lot of people probably aren't thinking to bet. It's 18-7 to the under on the season. So it's been very profitable. And Florida has been a very sneaky, good shot-suppressing team. Number 2 in shots against per game since November 1st, behind only Carolina. Edmonton is number 5. Like we said, there's a lot going into this game. This is going to be a very tight checking game. If you see guys like McDavid play, which is my question to you, some guys shoot for chances, but when you're as good as McDavid, there's value in not throwing the puck away. There's more value in having the puck on his stick than just trying to get it to the net and maybe get a rebound.
Well, look, I mean, it's no secret. We're not trying to disrespect Connor McDavid here, but when you watch him play, he's a guy that just loves having the puck on his stick, and he's always looking for that next option. And even when he's got a break onto the net, he's looking to deke the goalie out so that there's an open net that he can score it. He's not necessarily shooting all the time to score. And I guess it's because he believes he's playing at another level than anybody else could potentially play at. He's so confident in his stick handling and skating abilities that yeah, I mean he's more of the magician, the facilitator, the guy that wants to get his teammates points instead of himself because obviously if he's going to have a clear cut breakaway, you expect a shot, but if he's going on an odd man rush, he's always the guy looking to make that pass, either to Draisaitl, to Hyman, to Vander Kane, whoever it may be. So it's not really outlandish to focus on unders in his shot totals because I don't look at Connor McDavid as a shot first type of mentality guy because he's so dangerous. And especially if you're a D-man, trying to defend Connor McDavid, you're not worried about a shot. You're just worried about him not embarrassing you and putting you on the highlight reel because he's gonna dangle you and actually like make you fall and trip over yourself. So I think that's part of the focus too, is that players don't necessarily go down and block shots against him.
Yeah, you don't want to hear da-da-da, da-da-da. Yeah, no, that's not me. Yeah. Oh God. But yeah, it's been a good ride on that. Minus 130, buy point probably minus 135 for that. So far we're on, if you're just joining us now, quick little recap. Philly 3-way money line plus 120. Now over to the New Jersey Columbus game. Jesper Bratt for over 1.5 points plus 170. Like goals there. I think that's the best value if you're looking for big plus money. Evan Rodriguez for a point plus 120 in the Edmonton game. Only juice play here. McDavid under 3.5 shots minus 130. And now let's get to the Toronto game. We'll set the stage. We don't really have a play. We'll try to talk one out. Here we are, Toronto, Pittsburgh at Toronto. Rust is out. That's Raquel's still out. I mean, Reese, Knies, Wall, Klingberg, Giordano, Liljegren. I mean, it's all priced in. Those are the injuries you're looking at. Toronto, a slight favorite. Out of the gate, you liked Nylander shots, but that market has gone to 4.5 plus 230.
Yeah.
How do you see tonight's game going? I mean, outside of that Nashville game last Saturday.
Did you say 4.5 plus 230?
No, plus 130 or plus 120.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought I said plus 230. I'm like, okay, I'm still going to hit that.
No, sorry, that's points. We're looking at it. Yeah. Okay. It's actually taking on some money. It's actually plus 115 now. So
okay.
The market does like it. How do you see tonight going down?
Well, I think the story of the game is going to be the Kyle Dubas revenge game. It's Kyle Dubas's return to Toronto. There's going to be a lot of focus on him in the building, the former GM of this team, the guy that built this roster. So you would think in Pittsburgh's locker room there would be extra incentive, either through some money that's on the board from Kyle, a team dinner that's promised from Kyle, something's going to be incentivized in Pittsburgh's locker room for both Kyle Dubas and let's not forget Jason Spezza, who joined them, who are former Maple Leafs. But I think for the most part, it's, what type of Maple Leafs team are we going to see in tonight's game? They come up an impressive 2 games on the road, probably the 2 best games of the season. Then they lay an egg for 40 minutes against Columbus. In 20 minutes of that game, they showed like they were an unstoppable force. They've had a couple of days now to sort of recharge the batteries because there was some sort of flu bug going through the team. But I think it's pretty – and the big question mark for Toronto is who's going to be in net, right? Is it going to be Samsonov or is it going to be Martin Jones? But I think coming off of the game a couple of weeks ago where they played in Pittsburgh, where Pittsburgh ended up squeezing out that win, I think there's going to be a little extra urgency on Toronto's part to want to get the win on their home ice in a Kyle Dubas-focused game. So if you're looking at Toronto players, we've been doing this show for years, and when Matthews won the Rocket a couple of years ago, we basically had to play every time the Leafs were playing, and it was called auto bet. with Austin Matthews because that's how consistent he was scoring. I think we've hit that point right now with Austin Matthews where he's got goals in his last 4 games, 7 in his last 4 games. And it just feels like he's hit his stride. He's playing at another level. He had 11 shots on goal last game. I know a lot of them came in the third period when they were trailing. But you can tell when a guy's feeling it. And I think Austin Matthews is feeling it right now. And at minus 130, which is still really good to get a guy like that who's really good at scoring goals like Matthews, I think that's a play we have to zone in on. And the Nylander one will be, up to your choice. If it was 3.5, I'd be smashing it. 4.5 is kind of, 50-50.
You do need them to trail. Like if they're playing with the lead, that's not hitting.
It's not going to happen. No, for sure. So I think the safer bet here is to just focus on Austin Matthews scoring a goal tonight. All
right. What if I can interest you in some Pittsburgh team total overs?
Yes. Okay.
Right. Pittsburgh team total over flat 3. So we get the push. Minus 115.
I love it. And for a couple reasons. One, because if Samsonov plays, it's going to be a lot of pressure on him to have a better performance. 2, if Martin Jones plays, he's still considered a third goalie, but you wonder what he's going to do with his first full start at home. Is there going to be that extra added pressure, especially with the group of defense that's playing in front of him? But I think most importantly, why I really like it is because Pittsburgh's power play is finally starting to click.
Yeah.
Since being called out by their management, they've played 2 games. I think they've got 4 power play goals in their last 2 games. And, Pittsburgh's struggles this year have been because their power play hasn't been clicking. They've lost a lot of close games. Now that their power play is feeling it, if you can get 1 or 2 goals just on the power play, probably know they're going to get 1 or 2 5-on-5. Safe to say that's going to be a total that will be safely hitting.
Okay, I like it. I like that. Just taking a look at scrolling down, trying to find the Leafs PK. Middle of the pack, but obviously it struggles with.
Well, I think they gave up
in defense. Yeah,
I think they gave up 2 the other night to Columbus, I believe. 2 power.
Yeah, so I'm happy to go back and forth on that game. If you, the few things I do remember from that Pittsburgh game in Pittsburgh were Pittsburgh answered every time. Pittsburgh answered the opening goal from Toronto immediately. So I lost. Here's the story. So I lost my friends. So this is me trying to make new friends from random people from Pittsburgh. I lost like a group of 7 grown men, and there's me by myself at the bar trying to figure out where they are. So I zoned in on two men, and I'm like, okay, all right, gentlemen, they're obviously Pittsburgh fans. If the Leafs score first, you guys buy me 1 drink, but if Pittsburgh scores first, I'll buy each of you guys a drink.
Oh, no way.
Good move, right? Like, how do you say no to that?
Yeah, and the Leafs score first that game, so you won.
And then Pittsburgh scored while we were in line for a drink.
Oh,
sorry, Jen. But no, and then that game was 3-2 halfway through the game, and Pittsburgh sat and chilled and camped. So if I don't know, it's a Saturday game, and the Leafs sometimes Saturdays, like we saw last Saturday, they can really come out. But I think this is another spot where I don't feel bad about the 3 without knowing between Martin Jones or Samsonov. I'm happy with either at this point.
Right.
But yeah, certainly going to hit Pittsburgh team total over the flat 3 at minus 115. So let's get them in the books. We got a football day, pal. We got a big day, holiday. We got Erickson and Geeky paying the tabs. So let's keep rolling. We're running on long, but it's Saturday morning. Appreciate you jumping on here. Appreciate everybody there in the chat. Quick recap. If producer Brady could throw it up, he's been a gem here too. Let's get it on. Philadelphia 3-way money line plus 120. And then we were at Jesper Bratt over 1.5 points plus 170. Rodriguez in Florida for a point plus 120. Connor McDavid under 3.5 shots on goal minus 130. And then we hit the Pittsburgh team total over 3.5 minus 115. And our buy point for Austin Matthews is minus 130 in a game where he's just he's unstoppable mode. Geeky doesn't exist right now. They've taken the Geeky. Mitch says, "Where's Geeky?"
Yeah.
The geeky plays are off the board, and there's probably a reason why.
Keep an
There's not
eye on
that-
the geeky plays, though. If
Yeah,
they're
keep an eye
on
on
the
the geeky-
board,
Yeah.
it's a good bet to hit again.
Keep an eye on the geeky plays. Your buy points probably even money. Power play, if you're not getting plus 350, probably don't worry about it. But Heinen's up at that top line with him too. They're playing at home versus the Rangers on the back-to-back. So there's something to like there. And then Shattenkirk's on that PP1 too. You saw him get that power play point. So those guys might be something to look for if those markets open up. But let's leave it at that, pal. I'm Josh Ingles. He's Carlo Colaiacovo. This is NHL Puck Prop, brought to you by Covers, presented by Sports Interaction. Lead us out, pal.
Have a great weekend, folks. Keep that smile on your face. Ciao.